It's the Weekly Wrap with your host, broadcasting legend Bruce Wolf, and his trusty sidekick, comedian timslagle. And now, without further ado, Bruce Wolf.
Bruce Wolf, timslagle on the Weekly Wrap. And now it's time for my favorite part of the show, wherein I guess what is in the background of Tim today. I'm going to guess that it's Jews rioting at the National Mall the other day.
Nope.
That didn't happen. Oh, okay.
Nope.
So what do you got there?
San Potemkin, California.
There you go.
All decorated for the surrender.
Right. I mean, all those Chi-Com flags that there were. Well, I don't think that you have American flags in your background. I don't think there were American flags in the picture that I saw. It was all the red Chinese flags.
I didn't have time to crop it.
And it didn't look like San Francisco, of course, because it was all cleaned up. So
it's kind of like, you ever see the Man in the High Castle?
I did not see that.
It's basically the idea is that the Nazis get a hold of the atomic bomb first, and the United States surrenders. It's like an alternate reality.
Sure. Yeah.
And they take the East Coast and they give the West Coast to Japan. And like the midsection right around Colorado, becomes the neutral zone. And so everything in California is all Japanese. So look kind of similar.
All right, there you go. Well, let us turn right now to politics and see who's going to keep them foreigners at bay, if possible. And, it looks, the latest polls show Trump ahead of Biden. And, anytime a Republican leads nationally, they've got it in the bag because the Democrats usually win the popular vote. But when you go state by state, and Trump is even outside the margin of error in a couple of the swing states right now. And of course, I mean, it's always easy to explain these things after the fact, but I mean, it's just so
there's two other things. There's two other things working in Trump's favor.
Yeah,
is number one is he has a record amount of the black vote, and that's just the black people that will admit that they're going to vote for Trump.
Yeah, what do you think the numbers are on the black vote right now?
They're saying 22%.
That is 22%. Really high.
Yeah. Well, I think it's, and like I said, I think it's higher. I think that's 22% will admit it. I think
I'm wondering if they should be banned from the voting booth because of franchise.
Yeah, the Democrats are gonna say, what did we used to do when this became a problem?
Well, I know what it's like. I know we had a former Chicago mayor who disenfranchised black voters, and of course that was Rahm Emanuel, a de facto disenfranchisement when he quashed the Laquan McDonald video. And so the other day, somebody from National Review, and he's the esoteric guy. He does the Political Beats podcast with my friend Scott Bertram, and there he is, Jeff Blehar, who is a Chicago attorney who's very prolific, and so he's joined National Review. But I had tweeted because there's this Jonathan Martin piece in Politico about how Biden can win, and basically he admits at the beginning that Biden isn't fit for office. So right there, they should. I mean, he can't do it. Can't do the job. It's not healthy enough. But leaving that aside,
it's just a ceremonial job at this point, isn't it?
Yeah, leaving the 25th Amendment aside. This
it's
guy
kind of like become the monarchy in here in the US.
He goes on to say, well, Woodrow Wilson's wife handled things after his stroke. There is precedent for that. But
she didn't handle things before the stroke.
Apparently. So Jonathan Martin, hey, that's the idea of this political podcast, is to bring it right into the gutter. Anyway, Jonathan Martin had all these ways of how, he could resurrect his campaign. And one of the things he said was that Rahm should take over the campaign because he was so successful with that. And then of
tallest man in Japan.
Yeah. Well, that's why can I even at least set you up for the joke by saying why did he want to become the ambassador?
If we got regular listeners, they know the joke already.
Sure. Oh yeah, that's number 17 there. Cue the Don Lemon joke coming up. All right, so but yeah, so he suggested like they got Rahm and Ron Klain, and so I tweeted to this guy Jeff Blehar. I said, I can't wait for Rahm to lead the campaign. Talk about Jim Crow 2.0. Rahm, the mayor who was kicked out of Chicago for effectively disenfranchising the electorate by quashing the Laquan McDonald video. Can't wait for the Veep to address that. And then Jeff Blehar, and Chris just showed this before, responded to me saying, that's what I was going to say in this piece that I've got coming up in National Review in about 2 minutes. Yeah, he says, I make this exact point in my upcoming piece. These people want to bring both Rahm in to run the campaign and Ron Klain to appease the left and don't seem to realize how these two agenda points don't align. So anytime, that I can jump the gun on something that, an esteemed author of National Review is about to publish, I'm happy about that. But yeah, there's the point. It's just they're trying to reconcile so many different disparate elements. It just doesn't work, and it's you wonder. I mean, is I still wonder if Biden's really going to run. Do you?
Well, at some point, it's there's going to be no return. I mean, we're getting pretty close on the primaries that you have to submit to the primaries. So,
well, as I heard Mark Halperin, Mark Halperin is this guy who warned the nation of Trump in 2015. I mean, he didn't like Trump at all, but he said this guy can win. It's a little bit like Al Pacino in Godfather 2 when he saw the the revolutionaries off the balcony and said, hey, they could win. So, anyway, so Halperin says this time around, the Democrats are going to try and concentrate on be the anti-Trump party and emphasize abortion and the extremism of Trump supposedly, but also they've tried to solve the economy. But everybody's saying, forget about that. You can't make people believe that the economy's okay.
That's the funny thing. Not only did he trash the economy, he put a brand on it.
Yeah, right. I mean, the worst. I mean, it's like worse than the new Coke. I mean, forget about it. Get rid of it. Bidenomics does not work.
That's going to be they just handed Trump a talking point.
Oh yeah, totally. And Halperin, he says, it's basically it's the 3 H's: health, Hunter, and Harris. Biden's health awful, Hunter, and so we'll get to this in the next segment. I guess we got this. Where do we have this? Oh, a couple of segments down. But how NBC thought it was unfair to compare. If you're not going to be able to take licks at Nikki Haley's daughter in a debate, you shouldn't be able to take licks at Hunter Biden as well. Two of the same things, no question about it. But anyway, the third H is of course Kamala Harris. I mean, so because people are going to think there's no question that she, at some point during Biden's second term, she's going to be the president of the United States, and nobody wants her to be the president. I mean, liberals don't want that, and they can't say it because they're stuck in their identitarian politics, and they just don't want to say she's not qualified. But anyway.
I think the only person that thinks she has a shot is Kamala.
Yeah, well, if you don't believe in yourself, I mean, who will? So anyway, there was this little article by this guy Henry Olson, who I've followed for a number of years, and he said, "Here's DeSantis's chance." And I wonder if you agree about it. I mean, not that he has one, because it still seems like a way outside chance. But if he would emphasize abortion, just for winning the nomination, because Trump is kind of wishy-washy on abortion, and DeSantis could galvanize the pro-life vote there. Also, that DeSantis was, this is DeSantis's calling card is COVID, whereas Trump, and Trump is Teflon that way. I mean, he lionized Fauci and kind of screwed it, but people won't hold him accountable for it for some reason. But that was Trump's
major flaw all through his presidency, is he trusted the people in the government far too much.
Well, the guy who wants to drain the swamp winds up mired in it. So anyway, that's DeSantis's chance. Did you see?
Well, and that's I don't know that's a great that's a great thing to run on, because it'll get him. It could get him to win in the primary, But it's not, but Trump is setting himself up for the general. I mean, you saw what happened in Ohio.
Oh, no,
that followed what happened in Michigan and Kansas.
I think DeSantis has problems, because everybody says, oh, anybody but Trump could beat Biden. Well, no, I don't think so, because DeSantis, if he's running on a 6-week abortion ban in Florida, forget it. I mean, he'll mobilize votes. So I was just talking about actually, defeating Trump. But did you see this item where I think ABC News was reporting that after January 6th, Trump didn't want to leave the White House. He thought he was going to be.
It was before January. It was before January.
Yeah, right. He thought he was going to be reinstated, and the way they wrote this tweet or whatever, it sounded like he was still in there. It said, exclusive, ABC News has obtained a video from Georgia prosecutors' interview with ex-Trump attorney Jenna Ellis, in which Ellis tells them she was personally informed by a top Trump advisor that Trump was not going to leave the White House
at a Christmas party. Election. At a Christmas party. So essentially what it was, you know what, Jenna?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
I don't think he's gonna leave.
Well, I'd like to turn it into something else. I was just thinking, if he hasn't left, we'll kick him out already. I mean, although at this point, given the polls, may as well just let him stay, as far as I'm concerned. Now, there was another story too. So John Carl of ABC, and I used to do Dance Profit, and I used to do a weekly segment with him because he was the White House correspondent about 10 years ago for ABC. But he wrote that when on November 22nd, when Trump made his announcement for candidacy last year, the crowd grew increasingly bored and tried to exit the ballroom. Staff blocked the entrances and told them they couldn't leave until the speech was done. They were now captive at Mar-a-Lago. I'm just wondering if he was trying to sell them timeshares at that point. But anyway, all right, Bruce Wolf, Tim Slagle on the Weekly Wrap.
Pretends like he's self-made. What a clown. Fraud. Always has been, always will be. Quit the tough guy act in these Senate hearings. You know where to find me. Any place, anytime, cowboy. So this is a time, this is a place. If you want to run your mouth, we can be two consenting adults. We can finish it here.
Okay, that's fine. Perfect.
You want to do it now?
I'd love to do it right now.
Well, stand your butt up then.
You stand your butt up.
Oh, hold on.
Oh,
Stop it.
Is that your solution? No, sit down. Sit down. Okay. You're a United States Senator. Sit down.
Oh, okay.
Sit down, please.
All right.
Can I respond? Hold it. If we can't, no, I have the mic. I'm sorry.
This is
hold
what he said.
You'll have your time.
Okay.
Can I respond? Oh, no,
Bruce Wolf, Tim Slagle on the Weekly Wrap. I mean, I love this.
I know.
I mean. And,
why did Sanders have to do that? I mean, that's another thing I disagree with him on. Let it go. Let's see it.
Bernie, I thought instead of stopping this, he should have ordered a closed door session and taxed billionaires oodles of money to come in and see it. We could have funded Social Security to the next century with the dough, according to Bernieonomics. But do you know the genesis of this? I mean, in any other week, I think this would be like something that everybody would be talking about 24/7.
Right.
But, with Israel and China and everything like that. But do you know the genesis of this whole thing? That I'm sure you do. That the Senator Mark Wayne Mullen, and I love a guy who has two names as a first name, Mark Wayne. It's not a middle name, Wayne. It's Mark Wayne is his first name. Mark Wayne Mullen. First of all, he was an MMA champ. Okay. And he looks tough. But this started a number of months ago, when he's making a speech somewhere, and this head of the Teamsters, Davis, is that his name or whatever, that and somebody tweeted attorney Robert Kennedy versus Jimmy Hoffa C-SPAN footage circa 1957. Yeah, it was really yeah, it was like that, more like Hoffa in the trunks, or under a goalpost somewhere. But anyway, Mullen is giving this speech, and he's standing behind a podium, and he's got like a platform to stand on so he looks taller. And the Teamsters guy makes fun of him, and then Mullen takes exception to it. And, and then, of course, it gets all the way to this point where he's challenging into a fight. And, I just I just think that's the way
I would love to have seen it. That reminds me, whatever happened to that Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg fight?
Right. That could be the undercard. I mean, right. There's all kinds of things, that we could get. And by the way, and he was interviewed by Dana Bash on CNN, this Mullen, and you see where he's about to take the ring off his finger, and he said, well, the reason he was going to take the ring off was because he didn't want to break his hand with the ring, and so she said, "You really were going to do this?" He said, "Yeah." He was not faking it. I absolutely love that. It was, sometimes that's look. What did we like Game of Thrones for? Trial by fire, or they used to have those jousts, and I mean that's the way to do it.
I think I liked it for the nudity.
Well, me too.
Let's be honest, Bruce. We were reading the articles.
What was your favorite nudity in Game of Thrones? You remember the Saturday Night Live bit where you can't even find it on YouTube anymore. They took it off. Andy Samberg plays the 12-year-old kid who is writing the scripts for Game of Thrones. I mean, and it's so because it's all fighting and nudity. But all right, your favorite nude moment in Game of Thrones, and there's a lot to choose from. What's your favorite?
Well, I think it was what's his Littlefinger. It's the pimp, and he's talking about a plot or what's going on, and in the background, just for no reason, there's two women having sex behind him. Okay, just absolutely had nothing to do with the plot. It was just there. I
forgot the characters so much that I was thinking Littlefinger was you were referring to the dwarfs.
No, he's got some,
but no, he's
got some dinklage, Bruce.
He had, and you know what? Cujo's, as Michael Jordan would say to him, because he was constantly in brothels and everything. So sure. But mine, of course, it was a season-ending scene, and it was exactly 4 minutes and 58 seconds. No, not that I was counting, not that I was putting a stopwatch on it. Where Cersei does the walk of shame.
Oh yeah.
And I think we even talked about this before. My wife was saying, that's not her real behind, that's not those aren't her real breasts. And it probably wasn't, but hey, great CGI, whatever.
Sure. Sure. If they can make dragons, they can make Cersei hot.
As long as the rotten tomatoes that were thrown at her were real, I don't care about anything else. But that was great.
Well, I think some of the stuff they were throwing, I think you would have wanted a stunt double for that.
Oh, sure, absolutely,
a body double.
I totally understood that. Anyway, so now that we're totally distracted on that, all right, let's take a cleansing breath and go to Israel right now. First of all, Osama bin Laden. I mean, you gotta love. See, I don't mind it so much that you have kids in the United States on campus and everything like that who are for the Nazi terrorists, because now it comes out that thanks to TikTok, thanks to the Chinese right behind you, that this letter of Osama bin Laden came out, and a lot of those kids right now are saying, you know what, the guy made some sense, which reminds me of when my hero Bobby Hull said, Hitler had some good ideas. I mean, it was just like, Osama bin Laden. I mean, that's where we are right now. So I don't.
Well, the college. Remember, it's 1923 or 2023. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So none of those kids, nobody, unless you're a grad student, you were not alive on September 11th.
Right. Don't know much about history. Here's the thing.
It is history to them.
Everything. Everything should be like Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Speaking of nude scenes, but everything should be Spicoli at the end with Mr. Hand reciting history, and so it was like really bogus that they flew these two planes into the World Trade Center, and lots of people died, and it really wasn't nice. I mean, this is so. As a Jew, you get kind of worried that we're being singled out on the campuses and everything. But now, I'm a little bit comforted when I see, oh well, they're lionizing Osama bin Laden, who wanted to kill all of us. So that's the younger generation right now. I mean, what's the matter with kids today? Kids, what's the matter?
Reagan said we were one generation away, and there you go. That's he was prescient.
And by the way, I just did a song from Bye Bye Birdie, Paul Lynde, saying, and Paul Lynde, you remember he was like the center square in the Hollywood Squares,
and Uncle Arthur.
Right. And I always thought that had Marilyn Monroe lived, she would have supplanted him as the center square in the Hollywood Squares. No question about it. She would have been what she missed was something. But anyway,
you don't think she would have been in the bottom row like the Rosemary corner?
She was Marilyn Monroe, for crying out loud. She would be slumming it to be on the Hollywood Squares.
Yeah, but you're going to want the cameras above her.
I totally understand it. They have a lot of different cameras. I get that, but she would be the center. So I was just making a reference to Bye Bye Birdie, and as long as we're going here, we may as well go all the way. I mean, I'm 9 years old in the movie theater, and I can't understand for the life of me why I don't care anything about the plot or Ed Sullivan. All I care about is seeing Anne Margaret dancing, and I don't know why. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I had that same moment when
I can tell you. I guess who would be. I'm going to say Anita Ekberg, and I'll take Sweden with Bob Hope. Am I right? No.
Nope. No. Okay. It was Catwoman tying down Robin.
Oh, I didn't know you had the affinity for Catwoman. Okay.
Oh, come on, Julie Newmar.
Well, who didn't?
Yeah,
Julie Newmar. How about Eartha Kitt?
I like Julie Newmar better. She was, and she also in the Lil Abner movie, she was Stupefying Jones.
Oh, okay. All right. You're.
It was a secret weapon that the U.S. military was working on right. Because whenever she would show up, its guys would just go stupid.
I guess again, I'm not really concerned with the plot lines of this or Game of Thrones, which I never understood anyway, and nor did any of the other 12-year-olds.
There you go. There you go. That was my moment. That was my Bye Bye Birdie moment.
Okay. So back to the Israel rally, and actually, I was very heartened by it. I felt guilty that I didn't go to it. So it would have been an 18-hour day, I think. But it was nice to see like Dee Snider saying, because apparently one of the anthems of this recently is his Twisted Sister. We're not going to take it. Is that And he said that's great. They can use it. So often you have. Everybody's, I don't want Rush Limbaugh using that, or I didn't authorize the use of some song, but Dee Snider said, yeah, go right ahead.
Well, he kind of needs, he probably needs the royalties. He can't afford he can't even afford eyeliner anymore.
So then, actually
it could be an anthem for both sides if you think about it.
Oh, of course. Did you see, Gayle King of CBS, in the morning show, she got her job through Oprah. She had the father of an 8-year-old kid who was kidnapped. I want to say, is that right? Or I don't know if he was killed or kidnapped. I think kidnapped. And she says, "Well, you got to feel sorry for the Palestinians too, don't you? This is all politics." And wait a minute, you're talking to a guy whose kid was taken, and can you just leave it alone for a second for one? But no, they cannot do that.
It's you want to kill whoever took your kid, no matter how well.
No, but I'm saying is, but the whole point was, what is Gayle King bringing up? There's both good people on both sides,
because she has to. Because she has to. It's in the mission statement.
Yeah, but it certainly is. Absolutely is. Now, I am heartened by the polls. They show that it's like the latest Fox poll is like 70-30 in favor of Israel, and that they hold Hamas responsible for any civilian casualties in Gaza. Of course, then you have AOC saying, but 70% want to see a ceasefire. Well, as long as we can hold Hamas responsible for all the civilian casualties, the hell with the ceasefire. We'll have it when Israel is ready for it. Bruce Wolf, Tim Slagle on the Weekly Wrap.
Well, I want to laugh at why Nikki Haley didn't answer your question, which is about looking at families in the eye. In the last debate, she made fun of me for actually joining TikTok while her own daughter was actually using the app for a long time. So you might want to take care of your family first.
Leave my daughter out of your voice.
Adult daughter. The next generation of Americans are using it. And that's actually the point. You have her supporters propping her up. That's fine. Here's the truth.
You're just
the easy answer.
Tim Slagle on the Weekly Wrap. Yeah, I mean, so she called him a scum, and we mentioned this before that
he's the only one that can.
Right. NBC tried to draw some kind of equivalence between her doing that and everybody going after Hunter Biden, because that's just somebody's kid too. So I just
Yeah. Even though Hunter is 53, but he still lives at home, so I guess that counts, right?
Yeah, and also, I mean, there is this inquiry. It's a legitimate inquiry into whether Joe Biden was part of all this. So I'm sorry, but it is. So
you think Hunter's on TikTok? I'll bet he is.
I would hope so. So, what do we else we have here? Okay, so I mean, I love this that even the migrants are saying they can't stand Chicago and want to go home. I suggest they go to San Francisco. I mean, because that's a place that's been cleaned up. But
it's actually a brilliant solution. It's did we establish what went on here? It's a guy from Venezuela.
Right.
Decided to go home. He said, I don't like Chicago. It's too socialist for me. I want to go back to Venezuela.
Yeah. Thank goodness.
So
thank goodness that attitude wasn't taken by a Chico Carrasquel, who became a great shortstop for the White Sox, or Louis Aparicio, who became a great shortstop for the White Sox, or Ozzie Guillen, who became a great shortstop for the White Sox. So thank goodness they found Chicago more welcoming. But that was back in the day. And now the migrants are finding that Chicago, because of all of its, well, I mean, it comes down to corruption and leftist policies. I mean, it's just like, it's, I think,
at least if you're going to live under socialism, you might as well have the nice weather.
I mean, I would like some kind of updated West Side Story musical number, where the girls, the Hispanic girls go, the Puerto Rican girls go against the Puerto Rican guys, dancing their asses off over the benefits of the United States versus Puerto Rico. I know a boat you can get on. Bye bye. So long. So yeah, that's what we need. We need Stephen Sondheim to turn this into a musical.
It actually does suggest a solution, because I am quite sure that a bunch of one-way tickets would be a lot cheaper than building a shelter.
There you go. There you go.
And did you see the picture? Did you see the picture of the guy? It's a picture of him and his family on the L train.
Did not.
And he's got a down vest on. He's got like a down jacket on. It's been like 65 degrees. It's like,
well,
you're not going to, it's a good thing you're going back, pal.
It's not Venezuela.
If 65 is too cold,
right.
Do you have a wonderful surprise coming for you?
You have no idea. Have no idea. Well, if they did go to San Francisco, I mean, I just love the transformation that there was in San Francisco. I mean, when I saw that, I was ready to think that Tony Bennett was still alive and could sing about the beauty of San Francisco. But that's temporary too, right? They're ready to let everybody back in and stink out the joint. Am I right about that?
Yeah, it's just a little Potemkin village set up. It's look how well glorious capitalism is happening is doing here. It's So they don't want to admit how run down their policies actually. And the fact that we have to do that in this country, it's, normally we just showed when we had dignitaries arrive, we just showed them America and they were fascinated.
Right. Well, yeah, I think we're becoming a second-rate power.
I heard a story. I can't remember who it was. They brought him into a grocery store and the guy just stood there in shock looking at a supermarket. This was in the 70s. There's nothing like the supermarkets these days. And
well, right. I mean, now everything's locked behind in glass cases, and
big long lines, just like home.
Yeah, right. And then there's a whole aisle for people with guns and just and taking things. Wait, you're allowed to take things off the shelves without paying for them? Well, certain people are. If you want some even more bad news about the United States, Scott Lincecum, who writes for the Dispatch, had this article about demographics. And, normally he's not a Chicken Little guy. The sky isn't falling. But, there are problems with our demographics. Apparently, the U.S. population is going to peak in 2080, at 369 million. So we don't have to worry about it. I'm not sure, kids have to worry about it that much, but that's a bad sign, that it makes me feel bad that for some reason we're just setting the table for things to go downhill. And it's not, what happened to our manifest destiny, man? So
he believes that's it, 369 million, and then the population is going to start to...
it's going to go down. And there are all kinds of problems with decreasing population, as as the Japanese can tell you. But
it's the pyramid starts to collapse.
Yeah, but maybe the good news is that though AI will take all our jobs, no one will be left to have a job taken. But the immigration, the right kind of immigration, could help. So could raising the fertility rate. But yeah, it's just such a downer to me when I think of that we're going to be experiencing contraction. It's like it's the decline of the civilization. And I certainly think that kids lauding Osama bin Laden is a harbinger. Boy,
how do you propose we raise the fertility rate?
Start stooping, man. Okay, stop watching Cersei for the last 4 minutes and 58 seconds, Game of Thrones 2, and get on with it. Start doing it. Now,
take those video games away from your kids. Go and take the car out. Pick up a girl.
Now, here's the thing. A lot of the drop in the fertility rate is the drop in teen pregnancy. And of course, nobody really wants teen pregnancy. On the other hand, it's like, what are these kids? Are they like the victims of helicopter parents? Are they, are they just living in protracted adolescences? What's going on here? I'm so far removed from all that, but I mean, I want to say, teen pregnancy is good, but on the other hand, if kids are just, somebody was just telling me the other day that kids are not only watching, they used to get YouTube videos to see how to play video games. Now they just watch YouTube videos of people playing video games. They're not even playing them themselves. So
that's been going on for a while. There's a couple people. There's a couple kids making millions of dollars every month playing video games, filming it on YouTube and putting it up there for. And it's like it's really gotta irk his parents. It's what are you gonna do? You're gonna play video games for a living? Here, Dad, here's $1 million.
Shut up.
Go out and buy yourself something nice and leave me alone.
I'm working right now. I'm trying to support this family, old man. Yeah, you had a job with a newspaper. Yeah, you were a crime reporter for the paper. Well, all the papers are shuttering across the United States.
You think I'm making money? You should see what Sis is doing in the room next door.
Yeah, but it's such a boy. What happened? Is there like no longer adolescent rebellion, or
There doesn't seem to be. I mean, the adolescent rebellion now is putting on a Trump hat.
There you go.
And
I was heartened.
And refusing to take it off when you get into school.
I was heartened when I saw a bus going to the rally in Washington and there were kids on it. I mean, young adults.
Yeah.
So it's not like they, were won over by, their university professors, and they're fighting the battle. So, I mean, so that's good. So you never know. I mean, maybe we'll rebound from all of that. Did you see that Jimmy Kimmel is going to be hosting the Oscars again for like the fourth time? Of course, it doesn't matter to me since I never see any movies anymore. And
well, nobody sees the movies that are nominated.
Right. I'm not returning to the movie theaters until Billy Crystal hosts again, as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, nobody sees any of those movies anymore. So what's
oh no, my favorite host was Seth.
Oh, mine too. And why? Totally.
None.
And why? As we bring it back to Juvenilia again, because what was the opening number? The opening number for Seth MacFarlane?
Yeah.
We saw your boobs.
Yeah.
It was, and they cut away to all these stars, these female stars who just like were startled because they're on their push-up bras and everything, and
we're not amused. We're not amused.
We were amused.
No. The stars. The ones he named.
I know. We were amused. We don't care.
Oh gosh.
And that was great. I mean, and I guess the best line ever from the Oscars to me is David Letterman going Uma, Oprah, Oprah, Uma, and nobody laughing. That was my favorite line. Bruce Wolf, Tim Slagle on the Weekly Wrap.
I thought about it a little bit. I mean, I'm not a religious person or anything, and if there was a God, like, this is proof that there isn't. This is up. So yeah, it's just because like 6 minutes in, my Achilles. I mean, what?
Bruce Wolf, Tim Slagle on the Weekly Wrap, and I hate to sound like a defense attorney here. Want to kind of make the case for Megan Rapinoe, if I can. Okay. At least when she, dissed God. Okay. It sounds like she may be joking about the whole thing, even though she doesn't believe in God and says, his there is no God. Her injury is proof that there is no God. Yeah, I mean, I can't stand her as much as anybody else, but at least it sounded like she was kind of like joking around. But maybe you demur.
Well, in God's defense, I think the fact that she got injured,
sure,
to get in the chair, is proof there is a God.
Yeah.
And he thinks of Megan Rapinoe exactly like I do.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, you don't think I exist, huh? Well,
yeah. I'll show you.
Here's a little nudge, just to prove it.
I didn't see it that way, but thank you for giving us that Talmudic explanation. I appreciate that. So there is going to be a drive-through Denny's. I believe it's in California. And I can't tell you how excited I am.
Every bad idea starts in California, don't you?
I mean, I got to tell you, during COVID, when we couldn't get supplies and whatever, we actually were so lonesome. We took some comfort in takeout Denny's for Thanksgiving, and I liked it because it was really salty. And I thought, this isn't bad. They give you
butter in the gravy,
Coke with it.
Butter in the gravy, undrained sausage in the stuffing.
No, I didn't have a problem with it. So I could almost see myself if they had one here in the area, which they don't yet. I could almost see myself just waltzing over to Denny's on Thanksgiving, going through the drive-through and feeding 40 people. But
well, on the other hand, if I remember in my youth, the only purpose of Denny's was after the bars closed, a place to hang out to sober up.
Yeah.
we probably shouldn't be driving home yet. Let's just go over to Denny's and we'll get a big breakfast and bunch of coffee, and then we'll drive home half drunk.
I'll tell you, maybe there's still an idea on Thanksgiving, because if you're in a tryptophan funk and you don't want to drive all the way home, you just go over to Denny's, sober up a little bit. If they got a TV on, this year they're not only having 3-foot NFL games. It used to be just the Lions on Thanksgiving. Now it's 3 games on Thanksgiving, and then Black Friday. I don't know how they left this alone for so many years. There's going to be an NFL game on Black Friday as well. I mean, you don't ever have to go without an NFL game. Isn't that wonderful?
Wow. So it's did they going to put the Bears on Black Friday? It's oh, look, they're 90% off.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, exactly. I think that's the one day of the year that they're not playing. So speaking of fast food restaurants, there's going to be a new Culver's, and of course I won't be able to go to that one either. It's going to be on the west side of Chicago, and people are wondering, how long it'll actually last. But yeah, they're going to open it.
As far as what's the
I don't know, because
I don't.
Well, I mean, they got a new Culver's. I mean, basically, aren't these like food deserts?
Okay.
This is going to be a food dessert right now. It's going to be it'd be nice if the people there had some place to eat. And the good thing about it is, at least with Culver's, you're not trying to force healthy food down people's throats. Okay.
Oh, Culver's is great.
That's great. It's fantastic. Although I got to tell you, and one of my pet peeves are these fast food restaurants that don't get the orders right. My shrimp basket the other day, and I know you're going to ask, what are you doing ordering a shrimp basket from Culver's? Okay. It's counter programming.
You should actually have a butter burger, because that's
sure. There's no problem with that. Although I kind of like the Wisconsin one better, with Swiss cheese in it. But I got a shrimp basket, and they didn't put any sauce in there. No sauce. And are you expecting me to dig down to the bottom of the bag and find if they put the sauce in? And there's always something wrong with these fast food restaurants. It might help that because of our fertility rate going down, there's such a small teen population, it's such a small pool of qualified candidates to work at the fast food restaurants.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And the ones that will don't really take it seriously. So
right.
It's so you didn't it wasn't until you got home and you unpacked the shrimp,
and you don't have the sauce,
and
then what are
you assumed the sauce would be on the bottom.
Now, fortunately, in our place, for example, we have like quarts and quarts of Chick-fil-A sauce, for example. We don't rely on Chick-fil-A to put the packets in. We've got all this stuff. So, that's my recommendation to.
Well, here's my recommendation. You just take some ketchup and some horseradish and a little bit of Tabasco.
Sure.
And you just mix it all together and you've got cocktail sauce.
So totally. I get that. And, we're a step ahead of you. I've got a son-in-law who, likes to mix all that stuff together. Me, I'm totally reliant on,
prepackaged
the fast food industry. So this may not interest you that much, but we did talk about the White Sox getting rid of their stellar play-by-play announcer, although Chris would demur from that. Jason Benetti, who went to the Tigers.
Actually, I believe a little, which is kind of a little recap, is that I believe last episode, Chris said that his leaving was proof there is a God.
Another reason. Megan Rapinoe's injury and Jason Benetti. Yeah, that's
the weekly wrap making a case for theism.
Yeah, there's all he needs like one other illustration, I believe. Red Sea parted. Okay, so that's 3. So I had a trivia question. Name 2 people who've done play-by-play for the White Sox and have a law degree. And the answer, Jason Benetti and me. Because I did 1 inning of a Cubs Sox game in 1987, and not even in my own voice. It was in my character, Chet Chit Chat. But Jason Benetti got himself a law degree from Wake Forest. That guy is an overachiever, because it's one thing for somebody like me to get a law degree because I never thought I could actually make it in sportscasting. And, I only made it because for some reason, some accident of history, irreverence was in from the late 80s to the 2010, I guess. And you could make a living that way. But that was because of David Letterman. It was David Letterman brought us into the age of irony. He you're absolutely right about that. I mean, I'm a little bit upset about that because I was doing it before Letterman was. Sure, but I get it. You're absolutely right about that. I mean, and here's a strange thing. I actually watched an episode of Lucille Ball's last sitcom this afternoon. Because I was kind of bored, and I was curious. I had never seen it. It was Life with Lucy. Yeah. And it was her and Gail Gordon running a hardware store together. Osgood Conklin, Gail Gordon, her longtime. Yeah, sure. But here's the interesting thing. Excuse me, that was Armiz Brooks. Yeah, okay, go ahead. And I'm watching it, and it's the same thing. It's I Love Lucy. Here's Lucy, the Lucy Show, Life with Lucy. She's still doing the same shtick, the same faces, the same mugging, the same. Oh no, she got into trouble. Right, making sure that Vivian Vance weighs 10 pounds more than she does. Although that was a myth. There it is. That was from the pilot right there. Right there that Chris is showing right now. She bought a fire extinguisher while Gail Gordon was away in Hawaii, and it filled up the whole. And that's so anyway. So my point is, and I'm thinking, why didn't this show? Why did it was like number 78 out of 79 for that for the season, and I think that's why it was. To get back on topic, it was because it was in that late 80s. Everyone wanted the sarcasm. They wanted the irony. They wanted the mocking. And Lucy wasn't. It was just. It was another Lucy show. Well, these things go in cycles. So if Lucy, if they want to clone her, maybe they'll build a chocolate factory set for her, and she could work on the assembly line again. Yeah. Well, that's all right. Let's real quickly here. The Jimmy Clausen story. I want to get to it. Okay. Remember Jimmy Clausen used to play for the Bears? At one point, he wanted to sell his jersey number to Cam Newton, the jersey number 1, because he had it already when they were both on Carolina, and he wanted to sell it to Cam for $1 million. A jersey. He was going to sell the number to him. And you had a comment on that. Yeah. It's when I first saw this article. I said, I thought a jersey number is something that happened to you if you crossed The Sopranos. There you go. Oh, and actually, he wanted the number 2 jersey. Okay, but that's fine. The joke still stands. Bruce Wolf, Tim Slagle on the Weekly Wrap.
And that's the Weekly Wrap on radio and television. Follow Bruce at Bruce Wolf Shy on Twitter and Tim at timslagle.com. The Weekly Wrap with Bruce Wolf, a CP Pods production.